We lost our cat Marvin earlier this week, and it's been a tough week for us. He's been with us for 15 years, and not having him here anymore has been an adjustment for us and our younger cat Leo. I know some of you heard him talk in the background when he'd walk up and down the corridor, and we won't get to hear that anymore. So it's really heartbreaking, but I just wanted to share that with you guys too. So this video is dedicated to him because he loves fish. Well, which cat doesn't? He actually loved chicken more than fish, but I'm not going to wear chicken earrings, so we're going to make these fish ones. But yeah, thank you for being here. This is one that I'm upcycling. So originally, this is a vintage pair of earrings, and as you can see, I got it for $12. Now, you might think that's a little high for an upcycled earring, and you might be right, but I really liked the shape and the work on it. It looks like someone did already put some of that solder on it. So what I did was cut off the back, and then I also polished this out. So as you can see, I got the true brass to shine out a little more and flatten some of that silver solder on that. And then I thought of bubbles when I saw it, and this kind of falls, sits as a stud earring on the side, and I want it to be a dangle. So this is what we're doing with this. We're going to punch a hole at the bottom for the teardrop to hang off of it, and then we're going to punch a hole on the top for the ear wire. And then these are the bubbles of sea glass. Tools you'll need: a metal punch. This is obviously a very well-loved pair, but anything with, this one is a 1.2 mm, so this one will do. One bent nose pliers, your 6-step looping pliers. I don't think there's any project I work on without having one of these handy. And then your trusty wire cutters. And for materials, I'm using that vintage fish pair. There's plenty available online. I bought this when I was up in Northfield. So if you're looking for some, I can link a couple of them down below. And then I have a brass head pin, a pair of ear wires for both the earrings. So 2 head pins, 2 ear wires, and then a eye pin. Brass eye pin, and if you don't have this, you can just make it with a piece of wire yourself. And then 2 teardrop sea glass beads, 2 6 mm sea glass beads, and 2 3 mm sea glass beads. So let's get this started. So I'm going to cut that off first. And make sure to hold it in your hand so you don't have that piece of metal that goes flying. And because I am doing this polishing, which is an optional step, I will also have my rotary tool. My rotary tool with either a wire brush or a polishing dial handy. I'm going to first punch the holes and then polish that piece up before we do the rest. So I'm going to just center this by the front with the mouth, and then squeeze, and that should go all the way through. There it did. And then here I kind of want it in the center as well, so I'm going to try to center that. There we go. So we have that done. And now I'm just going to run the brush on the back, just where I cut that off, and there's those metal sharp bits, and then we flip it over and then polish the front. So see, kind of have that brightened out. And I'm going to speed through this. the back is nice and shiny. Now flip it over. There we have a nice bright shiny piece, and now we're going to do the rest of it. So I'm first going to slide the teardrop onto the head pin, and then we're going to bend that head pin over about a 45 degrees and use the first step of the looping plier to make a lollipop loop on the top. And if you've not made that loop before, I will link the video to making your perfect lollipop loop down in the description below and up in the cards. And then we're going to just twist that open and slide it onto the fish tail. Now we have that drop hung. We're going to add the top, and so I'm going to have this eyelet bead toward the fish, so I'm going to slide on the 6mm bead and then the 3mm bead and then do the same thing. But you see how I have this will go this way to the fish, so I want this loop to be horizontal, so I'm going to pull the wire over that way. And if you don't do this in the beginning, that's fine too. We can turn the loop around, but we're just going to rotate that. And I'm going to snip that wire off. And I'm going to make sure that these two wires loops are perpendicular to each other. And here we're going to slip the fish on and then twist that close. And then all that's left to do is hang the earring on the ear wire. So I twisted that open and then twist that close. And there we have a beautiful pair of upcycled vintage brass fish into these gorgeous fish and sea glass earrings. Thank you for joining me today, and have a beautiful day.